Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kanpai Gaming Podcast. This is Eggman. We got Taco and your boy Luigi, Epic. Luigi. All right. Should I restart? I was like, all right,
Nope,
no? All right.
you're good.
We can
Yeah.
All
skip
right.
that too.
So
I got
it's,
many nicknames.
yeah, and I so do I, but I don't want to get into those because there's a reason why I settled with a 13-year-old nickname because I don't like any other ones. All right. So we just want to start today off acknowledging a more recent turn of events in regards to our topic today. I know there's a lot that's been going on in the world and in the topics that we usually like to discuss, but there's one thing in particular that I want to cover today because it does directly correlate to our topic, and that is anime. If you're not aware, the YouTube channel Totally Not Mark was copyright struck by Toei Animations, had 150 videos removed from his YouTube channel, subsequently gutting his channel, taking away any source of income and history and hard work that he put into it, all his blood, sweat, and tears are just gone. Right? Even though he has them personally, we don't get to see them. And fortunately for me, I was subscribed to him for the better part of 4 years, and I was able to see most of those videos. However, some people just may never see them, and it's a shame because they were fantastic videos and videos that put me in a new understanding and appreciation for some of Toei's works that I didn't have before, particularly One Piece. Uh, I'm in the camp that has never watched One Piece, probably never will watch One Piece, but I'm not out of the scope where I wouldn't buy One Piece merchandise or go watch a movie if they release one with my friends. I'd go with them and watch it. Or if I wanted to buy something for a friend that has that loves One Piece, I would do it. I would support Toei and I would just buy it. Right outside of that I probably wouldn't do it for myself, but I would do it for others. And Totally Not Mark and his videos have put that have put a new appreciation for One Piece where I would do that. And it's a shame that that love doesn't translate over to the Toei animations because I'm gonna pause right here. I'm gonna rethink where I'm going with this because uh,
It's fine.
yeah, I just want to make sure I know where I'm going with this. Um, it's always a shame. All right, it's a shame that Toei doesn't share this sentiment where someone can take your work and transform it into something that brings in new people, brings in fresh blood to appreciate your work, and it really saddens me that they decided to take this man down and destroy his livelihood. Now he called for a boycott of Toei Animation, and while I know that that may be effective in the short term, it's not the right message to send, and he's aware of that, and he retracted his statement on the boycott. However, I don't think it should have been done so quickly. I think that we should have been able to see how this would have turned out because he has a lot of support, and clearly Toei doesn't understand copyright laws outside of Japan. And I'm sure Taco can probably put some input into it. I'm not sure. Are you aware of copyright laws in Japan for the most part?
I'm not exactly very, how would I say this, knowledgeable in any sort of law when it comes to intellectual property and media. My general understanding of my 2 cents that I give on this podcast is purely from a cultural standpoint and in a way of thought process standpoint. Japanese laws are colossally different from the United States, to say the least, and my long time, especially my late adolescent and my adult years living in the United States, I've grown to more akin to understanding U.S. laws at the surface level rather than Japanese laws. I don't even have a surface level understanding of Japanese laws to begin with because of the fact that I spent most of my mature life in the United States. So, like I said, all the ideas that I or 2 cents that I give out is going to be mostly from just a cultural standpoint and how I was raised as a Japanese individual in Japan as a kid and also as an immigrant family here. Um,
Well said. Yeah.
hmm.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thank
because he Taco didn't actually get into any of this stuff when he was living in Japan. Now, if he was still living there and doing or trying to do what we're doing now, then I'm sure that he would probably have a better understanding of it. But I can understand why he doesn't.
Hmm.
And a question for you, Eggman: what kind of videos did he post? Like, well, you talked about One Piece. So I'm curious to know like what about One Piece did he like you know bring to light for you?
So in particular, his most successful series were a series called 100% Blind Review of
Yeah.
a series, and I'm not sure if you may have seen in the recommended feed. And it's not so much a blatant copy paste of the episodes or anything like that. I'm sure if you just Google it onto YouTube, or I mean, you search into YouTube, Toei's works like Dragon Ball, you can find full videos of the movies. You can find Broly on YouTube for free. You don't have to pay for it. It's right there. No paywall, no anything. And those are up right now. You can do it right now. Yeah, this guy, he read the manga for the first time. We give him the benefit of the doubt that it was his first time reading it, and we went along the journey with him in the same way, Epic, that you did when you first read the manga. The emotions, the oh my god, the glass shattering moments where you're like, I can't believe this happened. This is amazing. Oh shit.
Yeah.
He went through those things, and we got to go on that journey with him, and he put it all in video form, and he reviewed not only his reaction to it, but also the meta of it, where the tropes, the story, the all that. Um,
Right.
and it was just one of those series where you're along for the ride, but it didn't completely just rip off. It was transformative. He gave his review, what he liked, what he didn't like, what could have been done better, and the limitations at the time. Obviously, One Piece and Dragon Ball are very old series. There are things that were done back in the day for Dragon Ball that are not done anymore in Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball Super. Same with One Piece. The art style has changed dramatically, and for example, Dragon Ball, they don't have the same. Uh, what's his fucking name again?
Who's
Dragon Ball.
Akira Toriyama.
Toriyama. Shit, thanks. I just had a brain fart. Uh, we'll go back and edit that part. Uh, so for example, Dragon Ball, Toriyama, he was overseeing everything in Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, but in Super he gave the reins to someone else, and that was unusual for him. And we obviously saw the quality drop, but it's something that we can critique as consumers of his product, and be like, oh, okay, well, Dragon Ball Super isn't as good as Dragon Ball Z, or however your opinion may lie, and that's within his right to put out there. He can make a video, say, hey, this is shit, and that's my opinion, but um, those are the types of videos that he put out, and they struck it. Another set of series of videos that he put out were drawing videos. He would have commentary over making new art or fixing shitty art. In particular, the Dragon Ball series. I'm sure you're all aware of the first, like, what, 10 episodes of Super, and how the animation was hot garbage.
oh
He
my
went
god.
in and took those frames and had a few of his friends do the still over and fix the art. And you totally can't say that that's their art, because it's different. They changed it. They fixed it. Like, you want to copyright your crappy art? Go ahead. Ours is better anyway.
Hmm.
But it's not the same anymore, right? So those all fall into fair use laws in the United States and in some countries in the UK and abroad. But in Japan, and this is something that I looked up on my own, and I have a basic understanding of it. But from my own research, I've come to understand that Japanese copyright laws are way more strict. Basically, Toei Animations in Japan, and anything distributed in Japan, any Japanese company has the right to block anything that represents the IP, or that something that they deem unnecessary or harmful to their brand. They can block it, and it's well within their right. However, in Japan, I'm sorry, outside of Japan, excuse me, that is not the case. They
Right.
can't do that.
Can,
And oh, did you want to say something,
yeah.
Philip? Go ahead.
I just wanted to add something that's also been going on recently in a very different niche anime community. Um, so, you're significantly more well versed in Japanese, intellectual property laws, and I'm not. But this does make a good connection to what you just said earlier. So, for example, there's an anime and also a series called Uma Musume, Pretty Derby. So, the horse girl anime.
Oh, the horse races,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So basically, what happened was that the official company, not Psy Games, but like the Uma Musume, I guess just Twitter or whatever, like made a whole policy about how to treat their secondary works. Like let's say like fan art, whatever. what are the do's and don'ts, and they made like this whole list, right? And the thing about it is, at what when you read it, it's not. I don't think it's translated yet, but it's very draconian, right? And
Mm.
when I first saw this, I'm like, well, then you pretty much just almost can't really draw anything if someone strikes you with that, or someone rats you out basically. Then you're either gonna get your art taken down, or something's gonna happen to you depending on where you live, of course, and whatnot.
Oh, they're
And
gonna come to your door and FBI open up?
I mean, there's a meme going on that they call them horse yakuza or whatever. But anyways, besides the fact that what you just explained right now, when it comes to the very draconian laws, intellectual property copyright laws that they have in Japan, does seem like something that I've seen somewhere else outside of my sphere as well, right? And when it comes to redoing art, this is just a purely cultural standpoint, and possibly very, how what's the word that probably is just within my sphere of influence, is that
Anecdotal?
anecdotal. There we go. This may be purely anecdotal, but Japanese people really don't take kindly to redraws, right? They, from what I know, So when I see on the internet, Twitter, 4chan, I mean not 4chan, 2chan, whatever, what have you, internet, the Matome site, whatever they call those, they really, really don't take kindly, even to the regular like individual, to redraws. Like, do you remember the Sailor Moon redraw that was going on?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
Japan
yeah.
had a field day with that. They were livid. And granted, I've seen obviously some other Japanese artists jump on the board of the train and thought that, like, oh hey, let me also draw my take to this, and et cetera, et cetera. But from what I've seen from the general reaction of a person who doesn't do art or whatnot, it was generally negative from what I've seen in my anecdotal bubble. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense. And this is where it becomes upsetting, where people fail to understand the cultural significance of that. Obviously, they have every right to be upset, um, but the people on the other side of the coin are upset that they're upset because it gives you new exposure to something that people just haven't been exposed to before.
Hmm.
How old is Sailor Moon? It's over 30 years old at this point, right? At least I want to say it's around that age. Same as Dragon Ball, it's really old. One Piece is really old.
Really
Naruto, they
old.
just celebrated their 20th, I believe. And it's like, okay, uh, how are you gonna expose kids to these old properties? And if someone watches Dragon Ball Super next year, how are they gonna know that Dragon Ball was the OG? They're not. You have to teach them that. You have to show them
Yeah.
that. And they're not marketing Dragon Ball OG anymore. They're not.
Yeah.
So they're not going to re-release a Dragon Ball movie or anything like that. So how do you expose these new markets to these old properties? And it's
through YouTube.
these, yeah, through
Right.
YouTube,
Yeah,
through social media
and
and all that. Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, Epic.
yeah, because you made a good point earlier too about introducing new people, and it's kind of shady for them to do that. It's like everyone here on YouTube is expanding like what us as kids grew up loving and learning, and like all they're trying to do is bring new light to people who haven't, or who just like to talk about like these animes, and they don't have anybody to talk to. They don't like going on Reddit because they're just a bunch of
I'm
hate.
sorry. I'm
So they
sorry.
like to
Can I
watch
stop
these
you real quick? I'm
YouTubers.
sorry.
Huh?
I got a stupid annoying pop up. Let me.
He's lagging now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And
Cut. Go. Sorry.
Oh,
Continue.
um, but yeah, like people don't like to go on Reddit, and especially because there's just a lot of hate on Reddit when it comes to anime or manga or whatever it is. So me personally, like when it comes to One Piece, I don't have anybody to talk to about it. So I love to watch reviews, and even the people who do reviews have been getting copyright strike by Toei as well, and it's pretty fucked up because without these YouTubers, without these people bringing like talking about these animes, it probably wouldn't be as big as it is today. I mean, they'll still have a good fan base, but it won't be loved and bigger than anything else in the world, which I think anime is.
you feel like it would be tainted in a way.
Yeah, definitely. Because no one's gonna want to talk about it anymore. No one's gonna want, you know, even bring it up. But yeah, you'll be able to go on Reddit and they'll be hating crap. And the reason people go to YouTube and watch these reviews and watch these videos about anime is because they love to see other people's viewpoints without any other interruptions. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Um,
you're seeing their love for the series.
yeah, and exactly, and it's And one thing that people do too is like live reactions, right? So you get to see these people react to something that you've seen, and you feel that joy, and you get that first time feeling again with by seeing someone else see it for the first time.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I agree. And
This,
it's interesting because, in particular with One Piece, I can't, in my life right now,
yeah.
sit down and watch over 1,000 episodes. It's an insurmountable task for me, and I can't and will not do it. Um,
Or you could quit Dota.
We're not getting into
we're not
that. We're
getting
not
there.
getting into that. Just continue.
But it's more so like if I can, I can go right now into the wiki and just read the plot summary, right? But
TLDR.
it's not going to instill that same emotion. It's not going to hype me up. But if someone, here's a review and here's, my how I felt, and I was like, I can see how you would relate this arc to this arc and the character development and why it's important. And I'm like, oh shit, now I'm getting hyped because you're getting hyped. And even though like Epic, he couldn't talk to anybody about One Piece. I'm not obviously talking to totally not Mark, but through his experience, he's hyping me up. And once he gets to that oh shit moment, I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
right?
exactly.
And we can stand up, but I've been there. He did it. He's doing a 100% blind review of Naruto right now too.
Ooh.
He did it with Dragon Ball. He did it with One Piece, and it's just like you're in for a ride. And I'm like, oh wow, I didn't even know that happened in Dragon Ball. Like,
And you
and
also get a second
even
pair
though
of eyes, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
retrospective too, and it's something like yeah, I'm a Dragon Ball fan, and I'll buy Dragon Ball stuff here and there. We always support the movies. We want to go see Broly, um, but for One Piece, if he catches me up, if I'm watching his videos and now I know like, hey, now he hyped me up. I'm all up in the hype in One Piece. I want to read the next chapter. I want to watch the next episode. Let's go. That's one more viewer Toei got that they didn't have before. Come on, Toei, what are you doing? That's free advertisement. Because if it wasn't for him, I don't give a fuck about One Piece. Let's be real. I don't know what you're doing there.
I'm just being a fool.
Okay.
But
Anyway,
I mean, let's be real. Like they
yeah.
won't, they don't have me. They won't have me. And the only one that realistically even got me interested in One Piece in the last couple of years was totally not Mark.
I'm just being silly, to
Here's
guys.
here
No,
here
it's cool.
yeah, no, but
Hold
here's
on, hold on. And it frustrates me because it's like
Yeah.
Epic and an old friend of ours, they're big fans of One Piece, and and even Taco, he's like, oh, you gotta watch One Piece. They talk about One Piece here and there, and they were like, oh, did you read that last chapter or whatever? And obviously I'm aware of the memes and the important parts, but I'm not an aficionado. I don't know all the details.
your
But I felt
Squidward.
like, oh, you know what? One Piece is pretty dope, and dude, he wasn't even a third way done with with the review before I was like, hey, this is pretty good, but I don't know. Can't watch 1,000 episodes, but I'll watch the latest one.
I mean,
And they don't never know, and then next thing you know, I'm buying the
right.
whole fucking collection.
So
They're missing out because they want to copyright strike this guy, and for no fucking reason, they didn't steal it. Like I wasn't gonna watch One Piece anyway, like in a retrospective sense. But I might want to watch the next episode or the next release or buy the next piece of merchandise or support the next release of the volumes. Like you're missing out. You're shooting yourself in the foot, and that's upsetting.
right.
Sorry, you were gonna say something, Taco?
Yeah, so think of it this way, right? Another culture point perspective is that Japanese people, or not just companies, but people as well, are just very stingy. Is the stingent not the right word? They're
Benji?
not stingy. Like that, they're very lawful, right? They respect and follow laws no matter how absolutely absurd or draconian it sounds. Like I don't know as to why that's the grand scheme of things, but I do know that us Japanese people really like to follow laws because of the fact that the whole idea of Japanese culture is that we don't like to stand out. No individual likes to stand out. There's no individuality. There's no individualism, or very little comparatively to the United States. What I do have a lot of banter with my Japanese side of the family is that they can't fathom the fact that the United States was and is founded on the basis of consistently questioning the government, right? Consistently questioning the government, consistently questioning corporations, consistently fighting back, consistently, criticizing, and that is just so taboo into most Japanese like topics, right? Like let's say you talk about government. Oh, I don't want to talk about that because that's too difficult. Oh, well, let's talk about how this companies doing this. It's like, why? They have laws, just follow them, you know. And so their culture is stay in line, so you don't get called out, and you're good, right? And
Yeah.
so no matter, and so which is why these laws keep getting consistently draconian as time progresses, because of the fact that there's nobody, or at least very little amount of people that question these things. And
Yeah,
yeah,
it
like
makes
for
sense.
example, like I was just reading like like Twitter comments when it comes to the Uma Musume stuff, where they made like these guidelines on what you can and can't draw, and there's very few. Like for example, they basically said like, oh, you can't,
And
like they basically said like, oh, you can't associate you can't associate one of our characters with any form of religion no matter what, which obviously can be taken for granted. But one of the one of the American audiences was like, but dude, there's literally a character in there, that is a Shinto Buddhist. And
uh,
it's like, what? you just
I'm just well, I mean, you're right.
you just
It's
shot
it.
yourself in the
I'm
foot.
sorry. I didn't mean to laugh. To be disrespectful. It's just funny because
They just shot
I was
himself in the
gonna.
foot, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, even then, it's like, who gives a
yeah,
shit?
and
Like, it's
the
outside
argument,
Japan.
so the argument, so basically a foreigner guy said in Japanese, well, what about this character who is into this religion? And literally the Japanese people like dunked on this guy, basically saying it's okay for the company to do it because they're the company. They can do whatever they want, and they are making the rules. So the people who make the rules have free reign to do whatever the heck they want. Basically, that's
Yes, does not mean I have to follow that shit.
yeah, and then they'll just that goes into a whole nother rabbit
Yeah,
hole.
and that's the whole point of this. But the problem
Or
with
I'm sorry, let me go back. Or another one, it's like, oh, you can't draw anything that's like semi, even like mildly erotic, like no, not even no panty shots or whatever. And they're like, your in-game cards show them in bikinis and have them in like panty shots. Like, what's going on over here? It's like, oh, but it's the company that's doing it because they're doing it, therefore
they
it's
don't
okay.
make money.
Yeah,
They don't make money off your Rule 34
yeah, pretty
fan
much.
art.
So
Um,
it's just whatever.
I mean, well, I mean, it just it sucks because that's the problem. That's the inherent problem, is that Japanese companies don't have any jurisdiction outside of Japan. However, YouTube is an international company. They have their headquarters in the United States, in the UK, in the CIS region, Southeast Asia, and Japan, obviously. YouTube must follow Japanese law in Japan. So
But if the,
there,
I mean, we can also go into the whole thing like, well, is the content made in Japan? Is the individual Japanese? Do we try them for Japanese? Do we try them for
it doesn't matter
yeah, I was
because
gonna say that.
it doesn't matter because YouTube as a platform distributes that content across the entire world, and the headquarters station in places where the law prohibits it must exclude it. And that actually is a setting in the YouTube um, channel creation for in the YouTube channel for the creator. However, in Totally Not Mark's case, he stated that he can't access it because he's not part of an MCN, a multi-channel network.
okay.
Basically, he needs a manager that runs YouTube channels to get that setting from YouTube to change it.
So basically,
Whereas
so
if it's a copyright issue, YouTube should give him that opportunity to be like, I'll upload everywhere in the world except Japan, because Toei says no. Because he's like, I totally respect your right to say no in Japan, but this is America, bitch, and America says it's cool.
so
Toei America says it's cool.
so
Toei UK says it's cool. So
so
fuck you.
so basically, the copyright was taken down because of the fact that his video was
Accessible in
Accessible
Japan.
in Japan,
accessible
yeah.
in Japan, and therefore
Mhm.
it followed. Okay, see,
It's therefore it put the dominoes to fall across the entire world, and now nobody in the world can see these videos, even though they're perfectly legal in the other parts of the world except for Japan. And that's a problem. And he's requesting that YouTube and all his supporters request that YouTube and Toei be like, "Yo, YouTube, what the fuck? Give him his shit. Toei, calm the fuck down." In Japan, like, clearly this is good for you in the long term, except right now where it's bad for you because now the entire internet is rallying against you. And even though Totally Not Mark says, "Oh, no more boycott," doesn't stop the internet from boycotting Toei.
or even people having their individuality at this point, right?
Well, yeah, but it's more of
And a
oh,
convoluted effort,
yeah,
obviously, right?
yeah.
But
Um,
I'm just saying, like like for example, even when he said let's not boycott, the message was already spread.
yeah, exactly. And
Mhm.
we all got to see Toei exposed for their shady practices. So now I was like, well, me personally, I'll be like, well, fuck Toei. Like, dude, that's fucked up because honestly, we all love the series. Like, and as we get into our next topic, we're gonna see how much Toei's property has affected us, and in the same way that Toei Mark did.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm like, why should I support you now if you're saying fuck you to your most loyal people who are appreciative of what you've done and are trying to sow a seed for the future?
Hmm.
Because clearly you don't care, but we do. So why should we support you now?
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's the idea,
Hmm.
and hit them where the wallet hurts. And I'm not sure if Totally Not Mark was hit with some sort of um, strict legal, um,
I
paperwork
don't.
and stuff, because
I mean,
he
hopefully, YouTube can see that there's boundaries when it comes to the laws. So sadly to say, maybe YouTube might come to some type of understanding where they're saying, okay, you got a copyright strike. We're not gonna, because when people get copyright strikes, you can only get so many. I'm sure that he's fighting it right now, and probably what YouTube can do, or if they do it, it's gonna just fuck over Japan in the sense that it's like, okay, well your videos are back, but they're just not being able to be viewed,
Hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah, that's a fair point.
and,
And
and, and then it's gonna just hurt Toei's fan base in Japan because then they're gonna be like, yo, we love this guy, and now we can't watch it because you're being a bunch of assholes.
Okay.
all right, Taco, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the way Japan ranks their anime numbers and success of their properties is Japan only, correct? They don't really count numbers from outside of Japan.
I actually don't know about that. That very well may be the case because of how incredibly close-minded our culture is. But and even within a domestic what is it, viewer count, they most of the Japanese animes actually get ranked by how much Blu-rays or DVDs they actually sell. So
Okay.
yeah,
So it's more archaic in the sense of how they measure success of an
yeah,
anime.
Japan is still using DVDs and Blu-rays. So Japan is very new into the streaming service and Streamline and the whole YouTube thing as well. Granted, YouTube has a chance had a chance of staying with Japan more longer, but it's a common misconception that Japan is an advanced country. But that's a whole nother video and a whole nother topic for another time. But
That's a hot take.
no, that I'm not even like I'll what's the word? I'll confidently say that out there. Any Japanese guy would actually agree with me. Like I'll have my whole family agree with me. It's Japan's not culturally advanced. I mean, not culturally advanced. Culture
Oh,
is the biggest export of Japan. Let's keep it at that. Japan
okay.
is not technologically advanced. They're very behind in a lot of things, and that
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying because they're still using old archaic technology
they're
that's
using yeah,
outdated and
they're
they're
still
not.
using DVDs. They're using Blu-rays. They still have a bunch of their old. They still have a bunch of blockbusters. Their version of blockbusters, and streaming service is very very new to them. It's still very
Gotcha,
questionable in
gotcha.
terms of Japanese minds because Japanese people are very close-minded. But that's like I said, a whole nother video for or a topic for another time.
Okay.
Hmm?
I just wanted to ask that just to make sure, because Epic did make a good point um, about how it won't affect the numbers in the long term. However, outside Japan, it may bring in new people, bring in more revenue. Like they obviously have offices outside Japan, and overall, it's just shooting yourself in the foot. I don't understand why they would do such a thing to channels like Toy Not Mark. And we just really hope that it works out for him. Obviously he's got a lot of support, but we'll have to see the reaction from Toei. They did respond to his videos, and to answer a question that Epic asked earlier in regards to the copyright strike system, they did they do have a limit on the strikes. It's three. However, the long story short, the way the strike system works is Toei makes a strike, you get your video demonetized. If not taken down, you can um, appeal that, you can fight it. Then Toei has the option to respond, hey, you know what, you were right, that was our bad. We misunderstood the video, or no, screw you, we're taking it down.
Hmm.
And then it goes back to you, and then you can appeal that to YouTube, and then you go to court, right? But you can only do it one video at a time. And the average return
That's very
um,
that's very
for your time.
yeah, that's very what's the word? Redundant then.
Yeah, you go back and forth. Yeah, because why does the accuser have the power to say, "Hey, no, you actually,
Yeah,
we don't
that's
care,"
giving way too much power to. I mean,
giving way too
obviously,
much
at
power
the end
to
of
it.
the day, this is a corporation, and
Right.
and YouTube
Right. But
is
then for the copyright strike, they only have the average turnaround time for one strike is about, in Mark's words, about 3 months,
wow.
1 to 3 months. And he can't do multiple strikes at one time. He has to do it one at a time.
Hmm.
And he calculated that it would take over 30 years to get rid of these 150 strikes. It's insane. I don't even know how to fathom the amount of bullshit that is, where you have to spend 30 years to challenge copyright strikes that were fair use for your own channel.
Right.
Um, so we'll just have to wait and see because now it's in YouTube's hands because they have the power to manually review and go back and change all that. Uh, so closing thoughts on the Toei thing. I'm really disappointed with the way that they handled this thing. I'm biased because I have been subscribed to Toei Mark for years, and I do enjoy his videos. I watch pretty much every single one, even the drawing ones. So uh, uh, I will admit that I'm biased on this case, but nonetheless, Toei handled this poorly, and I really hope that they um, have an international perspective on this situation and move forward in the correct manner. Uh, Epic, do you have anything to say? Yes, closing for this.
It's sad to see because you speaking about his channel, um, kind of got me wanting to go see his videos, and now it's like, well, you can't, you know. So
Ah,
in a
yeah,
sense, I'm not saying in a sense like well, I am saying he pretty much could have gained a new viewer, but now I see it as no point, you know. I can't even go see the best of his work because it's all gone.
yeah, and he's very
I,
sad
I
about that.
and
Yeah.
I would just have to wait to see if how YouTube handles it, and hopefully they handle it in the right way. Um, because I know that YouTube can get a lot of flack for the way that they handle business, especially because I'm a big Steven Crowder fan and he hates YouTube. Um, but you know what? Like like Eggman said, it's their business, and if it affects their business, that's all they care about.
Hmm.
Sadly,
Yeah. Yeah.
We can still subscribe to Toy Mark and watch his newer videos. He still got more coming out in
yeah.
the new year.
Like as he said, is that most of his life work was was undone, and
right?
Yeah,
yeah, as he claimed like that. But I'm trying to keep a open mind in this situation, as you know, I come from multiple cultural backgrounds, but I do have to say that for the individual creator, this does do indeed suck. Yeah. So,
Paco's a shill. He's a corporate shill.
Nani?
Definitely sad to see though.
Yeah.
You know,
Anything else, Sako?
No,
Sorry,
no,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
that's about it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a rock and a hard place for international copyright law, and um, you have both sides of the coin saying that the other is right or wrong, and we'll just have to wait and see. But thank you for tuning into this tangent video. We usually try to keep our videos cohesive and in one segment, but we felt that this was a topic and um, a length that we deserved its own video. So thank you for tuning in and watching this video on our discussion for Toei animations. All right, Kanpai.
I'm
Kanpai.
probably